Hey, what's up, everybody? It's another episode of Ears Up in Depth, where we dive deep into the news to get you the grime and the grit and the gristle. We're here to dissect the gristle of the Disney news sphere or something like that. Mainly, it's just a couple cool stories that we run across during the week. But this is the place to talk about them, to do a little research, and to hopefully leave you more enlightened and entertained. Not necessarily in that order, but, you know, whatever you want to do. With me, as always, is Jeremy from SpectralRadio.us. Jeremy, hi.
Hi. Maybe we should change the name to Chapek's Gristle.
I don't think that man has an ounce of gristle on him.
Oh, you think it's pretty svelte?
Well, no, I just think it's softer meat than gristle, but, you know.
Oh, I thought gristle was like the fat.
No, it's like the sinew and like the tough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you don't.
No, it's not good. That's like
Okay.
Yeah, no. I don't know why we're doing this to the man. Anyway, we have a good show for you guys today. We have several news stories to talk about. A lot of cool stuff happening in the Disney news world. Jeremy, why don't you start us off, man? You got something to say?
Yes, he doesn't want to be cast just because he's short, but other little people have offered a stinging retort. This is a follow-up to your story from the last episode of In Depth that we did. Peter Dinklage, just to refresh everyone's memory, the Emmy-winning actor who also happens to be a little person, made headlines at the end of January when he appeared on the Marc Maron podcast and derided Disney for its upcoming remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He, if you remember, he said on the show, quote, "They were very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that effing backward story about seven dwarfs living in a cave together. Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox?" So that's going to come up a little later because he sort of made this statement that like he's been this big advocate of little people.
Okay.
All along. Well, in response to Dinklage's comments, Disney announced it would change the I don't know why I said it would change that. It would change the characters to magical creatures rather than having them be little people, and they're going to use CGI. Well, that was sort of their response to when his statement, and that's what the trouble started. Other little people actors quickly began publicly raising their voices against Dinklage's comments, with many claiming he doesn't have a right to speak on behalf of the entire little people community. Little Women LA star and producer Tara Jolie said that while she appreciates Dinklage speaking out, his power and privilege also create adverse effects. She said some members of her family auditioned for the Disney film, and that with his condemnation, Disney made Dinklage the sole arbiter of the topic. And of course, now their auditions are moot because Disney's going to make them out of CGI. They're not going to use people. Little people community journalist and documentarian Kara Reedy was more blunt in her assessment. Quote, "He's no dwarf hero. He does not talk about it. He's talked about it twice. He pretends like it doesn't exist, but he has not assisted." An actor and professional wrestler Dylan Hornswoggle Postal said, quote,
Sure.
"He wants to be progressive." Do you know who that is, by the way?
I have no idea.
I've heard of the name Hornswoggle.
Well, I feel like it's a piratey term.
Is it?
Yeah.
It sort of feels like it's in the name, the realm of swashbuckle.
Yeah, or it's something like Yosemite Sam has probably said a few times.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the vibe I get, but I have no idea. I'm speaking out of turn.
Well, he goes by Hornswoggle. He said, quote, "He wants to be progressive, and it's all about progression, and I support that completely. But the issue is him being progressive is eliminating 7 potential dream jobs from the dwarf acting community." He went on to say, "Who put this guy in charge, and why is he the single voice for like a whole community?" Hornswoggle, who was a WWE superstar for 10 years, said that he was able to live his dream as a pro wrestler because the industry was specifically seeking out a little person, such as
Hmm.
himself, he added that Disney's new live-action film would enable 7 other dwarf actors to live their dreams as well. So the little people community is coming out against this, but this is not the first time that the Snow White franchise has been the target of criticism. In 2012, Universal released a retelling of the story titled Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, it was horrible. Did you think?
I thought it was okay.
I had a
I thought it
really
was
tough
fine.
time.
Yeah.
Anyhow, this time the criticism came from the film's use of regular heighted people, but used CGI to shrink them.
Did they really? Wow. I guess I don't remember that.
That seems like it's the bad side of both coins, if that's even a phrase, because there you are still perpetuating the idea of dwarfs, but you don't even give them the opportunity to play it. It's like it seems like it's a double whammy against them in that situation.
It seems to me that the fix is just to take off and the 7 dwarves and just call it Snow White. So you can still have little people, because that's how the story was written. And there you go.
Well, as a Disney fan, I think that the solution is to stop remaking old movies and let them be. Like, how about no Disney fan is sitting around going, yay, another remake. Like, they don't seem to be particularly, well, at least critically successful. I mean, I think Cinderella was okay, but a lot of them seem to be not so great.
Well, I think they make enough money at the box office to warrant this thing being rehashed over and over again. And my theory is it's because there's more people in the world. You have a growing audience that's already tied into the Disney franchise anyways that are going to see a movie like this just because. Not necessarily because they want to or they're looking forward to it, but it's like, oh, a new Snow White? Yeah, I'll probably see it. You know, you see the trailer, you go, oh, it looks cool. All right, I'll probably see it. Like, I don't know. I forget, a trailer for some movie that I'm not really jazzed about, but I go, I'll probably see it.
Right.
There you go. It's not that I'm really dying to see it or whatever, but that's still a view, you know? And that's my theory, where it's like, oh, we made more money off of this. Like, yeah, but that movie was terrible. How many people saw it again? How many people are buying it? Probably not many. And I would bet that most people are like, yeah, that's not very good. I'm sorry that I saw this thing, but they don't care. The money's already spent at that point. Your money's already in their pocket.
Right. Yeah, they don't really care.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Walt said once, I don't ever want to make a sequel. That was like his thing.
Yeah, and then
he didn't even really want Magic Kingdom. When he built the Magic Kingdom here on this coast, he felt like that was almost a sequel. So he was in designing it. He knew he had to do it because you had to have some sort of income over here to prop up the rest of this Florida project. And so that's why we have so much different stuff, because he was like, it can't be the same. I don't want to do it again.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, well, Disney did come out and issue a statement, and they said, to avoid referencing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. The statement read, we look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period.
Yeah, because they didn't say specifically there will be no little people at all in this movie. You could still, do little people in green screen costumes or whatever. They could still have jobs. It doesn't mean that, but yeah, that's rough. That's a rough position to be in, man.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's really, is it the term dwarfs that they're having a problem with? I guess it's also their portrayal.
Yeah, I think that was part of Peter Dinklage's sort of thing, I think, right? Where in his original comments, it was like, oh, they just kind of seem like weirdos. Maybe if they were, I don't know, rocket scientists. I don't know. I don't know.
Snow White and the 7 rocket scientists. Yeah, they should do something like
to the moon.
How about like Snow White and the 7 jocks?
Yeah, and just be clones of you.
Yeah, well, they go there instead of going in the mine all day. They're at the gym, or they're out on the track field, whatever. They come home. She's still got to make them food. It's got to be lean protein.
Sure, of course it does. Yeah, protein shakes.
She had to clean up after them. Their jock straps are all over the place. They're a mess.
They're farting all the time. The protein shake farts, never good.
Never. No, those aren't good. No. They don't want to have. It's the whole thing. Snow White. So I think Snow White and the 7 jocks. You could put jocks into any movie franchise.
You really could.
101 jocks.
Sure. Yeah. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of the Jocks.
Jock Poppins.
See, now there you
know?
go. That sounds like it might have already been made. What if they just flip it on him and it's the 7 dwarves and Snow White, and then they go out and see her in her like rundown hut? I don't know. We're never
Snow White lives in.
Yeah, I don't know. Neither of us are ever going to get jobs at Disney like this. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. This is one of those things where I don't really have a dog in the fight. Like, it's big in the dwarfism community, and I still don't even really know the proper term for it. So I'm just like, I don't know. Either way, I'm probably gonna see. I don't know. You know what? Probably not. Probably won't see the movie. I know the story of Snow White, and I don't care. You can put different dialogue in it. It's still the same story. I don't need to see it.
I think it'll depend on how, first of all, how like it looks visually, because sometimes it can be really cool the way they make them look. And if the trailer looks good, I mean, the Aladdin trailer looked cringeworthy. I knew right then that I didn't want to see it.
And did you see it?
And I watched maybe the first 20 minutes of it, and I was like, this is not good, and I'm not going to waste any more of my time on this. I'm out.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So.
Well, there you go. Peter Dinklage causing a kerfuffle.
Yeah, well, there's, you know what it is? There's a dialogue going on, and I think maybe we should listen.
That's right. That's right. Well, speaking of dialogue, Jeremy, you have Netflix. You're a Netflix guy.
I do have Netflix.
And have you seen any of the Marvel television shows that were on, like Luke Cage or Jessica Jones or whatever?
No, I don't watch new things. I only watch Netflix so that I can watch reruns of Downton Abbey and The Crown.
That's it?
So, yeah. Well, they have Seinfeld on it now, too. That's a nice addition. That's all I watch.
You have this like 16,000 titles or whatever, and you watch the same 3 things.
Correct. Right. And Netflix is so terrible. Like, it doesn't recommend me good stuff based on that. So...
Well, look, man, that's fair enough. But for fans of the Marvel TV series, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Punisher, Iron Fist, and The Defenders, those are all going away from Netflix. Now, I've seen all of those except The Defenders. I don't think I watched The Defenders because I don't know. I think at that point I just didn't really, I don't know, care, I guess. I have a hard time caring when they hear individual things, and then what we're going to do is mash them up and see how they work. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I've seen it, maybe I don't. I don't know. It's been a couple years. But that is ending because the rights of those TV shows are reverting back to Disney. They're going to be available on Netflix only until March 1st. Disney is keeping mum about its distribution plans for the series. They are expected to be announcing the show's new streaming home very soon, but there's a lot going on in the industry about where are these going to live.
What are the options?
Well, there's either Disney Plus or Hulu.
Hulu, okay.
Because they're sort of, I mean, they're very violent. They're not done in sort of the Marvel Cinematic Universe the way that the shows are on Disney Plus, right? They're darker. They're a little more adult drama kind of thing. It's hard to say adult when you're talking about people with like superpowers or whatever. But The Punisher, about a rogue cop who goes vigilante and is this whole thing, that was very violent, and that got a lot of people talking about The Punisher and if it's right for TV and now right for Disney, and it's just this weird vibe because he's very angry. I don't know if that could really live on Disney Plus, but we'll talk about it. I'll mention it briefly. They're doing a TV series on the Marvel character Moon Knight, which is supposed to be Disney's first real foray into kind of dark, violent series. Mm-hmm. He's a very violent character. So we'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. It could live on, like I said, on Hulu, because that does have a little bit more, kind of the darker side of Marvel TV living over there. And I don't know. Anyway, it's up in the air. But if you're a fan of these shows, or if you haven't seen them at all and you want to catch up on them, check them out on Netflix before they split, because like I said, there's no place announced where they're going to go. And then of course there's no timeline for that transition to happen either. They're just going to be gone from Netflix. Who knows how long it'll take. But I think I read Daredevil is coming back. Daredevil was a cool series. I'm hoping that they bring the other characters back. I really like them. I thought Jessica Jones was a good show. Luke Cage was great. Iron Fist was okay, but I hope they bring everything back. It was pretty good.
Well, they ought to put it on Hulu. Hulu is really lacking for some content. They lost Seinfeld recently. I feel like there's not that much compelling on Hulu right now.
Yeah, we watch some stuff on Hulu. I forget what it is because it's
Designing Women.
All the streaming sites sort of just blend together to me. Like once you get in their interface and you watch a thing, I don't remember. Oh, it's on this one. Okay, got it. Okay, and then I gotta go, figure out which one it is. I don't have a head for that kind of stuff. I just forget about branding and just where do I find this TV show?
Right.
I forget. And then of course, if you've seen Spider-Man No Way Home, Daredevil, the character, made his MCU debut in that movie, which I believe is the most recent one. So if you saw a blind lawyer kicking butt, that was our Netflix MCU guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait. I gotta get a better map than this. Here we go.
The 21st Amendment Brewery's latest beer release, Tropical Brew-Free or Die IPA, puts an island vacation in their whimsically designed cans. That's right, cans. This refreshing year-round release, Tropical IPA, is brewed with pale and Munich malts, brimming with Azacca, Citra Cryo, and Mosaic hops, and topped with a splash of pineapple flavor. The result is a clean, refreshing beer featuring a mix of sweet malt, balanced bitterness, fruit-forward hops, and a nice tropical vacation at the finish. Tropical Brew-Free or Die IPA is available at your local good beer shop, neighborhood taproom, and anywhere else people come together to find great craft beer.
All right.
We need a new script.
Yeah, no, I'm working on it. Working on it with Sully, but what are you gonna do, man?
All right. Well, I'm just trying to keep things fresh as the taste of some of those flavors.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
Maybe that's the new script.
There you go.
Well, they must have thought they were at a trashy mall because they started a topless brawl back in October.
What is it? You sound like you're introducing clips on America's Funniest Videos.
Rhyming is my new thing. I think I've taken it from my Santa paycheck rhyming scheme.
Yes, there you go. It hasn't left you.
I like the way the delivery is. In fact, I'm even doing it at work. I'm
sure your coworkers love it.
Well, my boss is leaving the area. He's been promoted. He's moving to a new area.
Wow.
And so we did like a virtual card, like, oh, thanks for being on the team, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, send him a nice message. And I'm like, what am I going to send? Like, I'm not that emotional or like whatever. And I do like him, but
I don't care about people or things at all, really.
I just don't know what to say. So I just wrote a rhyming poem that's just like Dear Santa Paycheck, but making fun of him for the last 4 years. So yeah, it's just, I can't stop rhyming.
Yeah.
Just like a clock can never stop chiming.
It does stop. It stops, 59 minutes at a time.
Back in October, 2 women aged 29 and 31 were on vacation at Disney World with their families and found themselves enjoying an evening at Disney Springs. Favorite location of mine as well. After a dinner and some drinks, probably a few too many drinks, they started to take a turn for the worse or for the weird. Their phone died and they had no way to return to their hotel that was off Disney property. Disney security stepped in to call an Uber for them, but upon arrival, the Uber driver refused the fare, believing they were too drunk. And he was right. More on why that is a little later. They opted to wait for a taxi, but the wheels fell off their evening before a ride would ever come. By now, the evening was approaching 1 a.m., nearly 2 hours after Disney Springs closes, and the women, while waiting in line for the taxi, began to argue. Disney security. What's
Always
that?
good. That's always a good
Oh,
sign. Yeah.
this is real good stuff. Disney security officers who witnessed the scuffle recounted that the two females were screaming at each other with one seated and the other standing over the other. After security attempted to calm the situation, one female slapped the other in the face. At that point, they both began punching, slapping, and pulling each other's hair. At this point, Disney security physically pulled the two drunk guests apart, but once they were separated, they ran at each other. In the process, slipping in the younger guests' own vomit pool, causing them to then both fall in the bushes while still fighting.
Wow.
It's like I'm going to read this story every time I am hungover and feeling bad about myself, which is every Sunday. The younger then escaped the fighting to run several feet away, where she removed her dress, exposing her naked breasts, and then the punching once again resumed.
Oh, okay. Well, you
At
don't want to
that-
get dirty. You know, it's probably a really nice dress.
Right. Meanwhile, I have to add in the Uber driver. God bless him. He was absolutely right. He didn't want to take these two home, and he's right because they ended up puking.
Imagine being the Uber driver and then reading this in the paper today. You'd be like, whoa, Keanu Reeves Matrix style dodging this one.
Right, exactly. Okay, so breasts are out, punching again. At that point, Disney security and other cast members were able to separate the two physically again until off-duty deputies were able to arrive on the scene. I don't know why they were off-duty. When deputies attempted to question the younger sister, they reported that the only thing she wanted to talk about was her dislike of her sister's boyfriend. So,
That's all I wanted to say. But she had to hit me, and then I got naked. You just hear that conversation.
you can. Oh my God, you can.
I just wanted to say I didn't really like him. That's all. That's all. But then suddenly there were two of her. And now I sound like Bill Cosby. And then there be the two of them.
Okay. They were arrested for domestic violence, battery, and disorderly intoxication, which I didn't know was a charge, but apparently it is. But these
Especially
are
in
all.
Florida.
What's
I
that?
feel like that shouldn't be a charge in Florida. I mean, that's
No, it's actually what we call a way of life.
yeah, that's how you get your driver's license in Florida.
Mm-hmm. But these are all misdemeanor crimes, you see. Neither party chose to press charges against the other, which I think makes sense because they are siblings. The following month, the state's attorney's office declined to pursue any further charges. I think probably because they were home, back out of state, and it's like enough was enough. They were clearly really drunk. So that was that. That's the end of the story. They came, they saw, they threw a few punches, puked, topless,
Left,
and no one bothered to file any charges against them.
huh?
That's the other thing, because there were no criminal charges and misdemeanors. We don't know who they are.
Oh, bummer.
I know, it stinks.
Wow. Well, let that be a lesson. If you ever get in a fight like this, or ever have a thing where it's like, in hindsight, when you're sobering up in the car ride to the cop station or whatever, you're like, okay, I am not going to press charges because I don't want this to get out that I was rolling in my own vomit.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you do run the risk. The state could still have pressed charges against them, but I guess it was just not worth the court's time.
Oh,
this. It's not like any physical damage was on anybody else. So
What about the
I'm
bush?
sure if they had damaged property or another person or a cast member, they would probably have,
Sure.
throw
the book at them.
Which book? I don't know. Anyone.
Well, speaking of things coming back, I don't know. Soaring over California is returning once again to Disney California Adventure for the Food and Wine Festival. I remember once upon a time when Soaring over California existed, and then it was going away permanently, never to return, and then suddenly it came back, and then it went away again it was a limited time, and it never happened, and then suddenly it's back again. So I feel like this is going to be a reoccurring thing. To just bring back an old ride over and over again because it's far superior than the ride that's in there currently.
I mean, I think that's fine. I think it should change. They should change it up. It can't be a big deal to change that over, is it? I mean, maybe you got to redo the smells.
I mean, yeah. Well, first of all, the smell testers never really worked for me. Anyway, I was sort of like, okay, whatever. But I guess just like when the programming of the chairs, when they go up and down, in relation to the video, right, as you're flying. But that's probably a literal program.
Right, like don't you just swap out the disc?
Yeah, right. Swap disc, swap the digital projector, and then you have a new ride. And I do like that, and I think that they should do that more often with other rides. I mean, you could easily do that with, I don't know, Toy Story Midway Mania or something like that.
Sure. Anything that, yeah. I mean, you could do it with World of Color.
I think they do.
They do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, great. So if you have been missing Soaring over California, you're in for a treat, as the Disneyland Resort is bringing the classic version of the ride back for a limited time, of course, as part of the Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival, which runs from March 4th through April 26th. However, Disney has not confirmed an end date for Soaring over California. So I guess the hope is that it runs longer than April 26th, but it's probably just going to be that, that moment. So
how come your food and wine festivals don't last like 9 months?
I don't know. That's a good
like
question.
6 weeks in and out. You guys do it. Our food and wine festival for spring was from March 1st to like July 3rd. What is that about?
You have a bigger tourist pool, I guess.
I guess so. I also think it's an admission that there's nothing else to do at Epcot besides eat and get drunk.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's probably true. That's probably true. Hang on a sec, Jared. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back here with more news on Ears Up in Depth. Hang on just a sec. I mean, we'll be right back.
I think you're fine with just a sec.
There we go. What? Go edit myself out. What did you say?
I think you're fine to say just a sec.
I don't know, man. All right, here we go.
Back to the newsroom on In Depth.
All right, Jared, what's up?
Newsroom on In Depth.
It's the newsroom. Our collective offices.
Right.
What's next?
That's it. I've done my 2 stories.
Done your 2 stories. All right, Jeremy.
Hit me with another one. You got another one in your back pocket. I can feel it.
I really do. This is the big one here.
Okay.
It's no secret, of course, that prices are high at the Disney resorts. Depending on who you ask, those prices might be justified or at least explained away as Disney giving its customers more for their dollar, meaning prices go up, more experiences and rides come into the parks, and then prices go up again. Not to mention prices inside the parks, not just for tickets. Things like food, merchandise, and drinks have all seen price increases over the years with no real improvement, and in fact, some people have noticed a decrease in quality and portion sizes of foods. There was a time when companies just improved their products, Jeremy, without increasing prices, but maybe that's the Mandela effect happening in my brain, who knows. Back on February 9th, the Walt Disney Company held their Q4 earnings call to wrap up 2021, and on that call, CEO Bob Chapek said, well, he said a lot, but with regards to Disney Plus specifically, he had this to say. Quote, the remainder of this fiscal year will feature compelling Disney Plus originals from across our brands and franchises, beginning with Pixar's Turning Red and Marvel Studios' is Moon Knight in March. And the back half of fiscal year 22 will feature a truly stunning array of content, including 2 Star Wars series, Andor and the highly anticipated Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I'm excited to announce will premiere on May 25th. We'll debut 2 Marvel series, Miss Marvel and She-Hulk, fresh new shorts from Disney Animation and Pixar featuring the worlds of Big Hero 6 and Cars, a live-action reimagining of the Disney classic Pinocchio starring Tom Hanks as Geppetto, and one of the most anticipated sequels in some time, especially in the Chapek household, Hocus Pocus 2. So we have the setup here. Hey, folks, new content coming at you. And then we also got the punchline. Sorry, folks, prices are going to go up. The moose outside should have told you. Later in the call, Chapek says this, quote, by 2023, we want to get to a steady state, which is even higher than we have right now. And I think that will give us the impetus to increase that price-value relationship even higher, and then have the flexibility, if we were to so choose, to then look at price increases on our service, Chapek said. Also, quote, we maintain that we offer an extraordinary price-value relationship around the world for Disney+. In all fairness, our own recognition that we needed to essentially double our production output. You put those two things together, and we certainly have less content than we want, but as we've said over the last few earnings calls, that will rectify itself in the second half of this year. So, sure sounds like Disney Plus prices are going to go up next year. I mean, he did say if we were to so choose, but let's be honest. When was the last time Disney chose to leave money in your pockets, right?
Oh, right.
One would think that eventually customers would tire of the price increases. The 1-2 little goalpost moves the Disney company likes to make in order to raise their profits, but you'd be mistaken. At a separate point in the same earnings call, it was mentioned that the increase in parks attendance accounted for 1/3 of Disney's $22 billion in total sales. The theme park segment swung to a $2.45 billion profit, up from a $119 million loss in the year-ago period. The increase in park attendance accounted for 1/3, so all those ticket prices, all that stuff in the parks, 1/3 of their total sales coming from the parks. In an interview with CNBC prior to the earnings call, Chapek indicated that the cheapest days have stayed the same price for 3 years at both the Walt Disney World and Disneyland, offering those on a budget an opportunity to visit the parks. He also said that there were a range of upgrade options, pointing specifically to Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes. The cost of a regular or Tier 1 ticket to one of Disney parks hasn't changed. It's $104 will get you into one park for 1 day. But, of course, the prices for Tier 2 through Tier 6 went up to $119 through $164. During the call, when directly discussing the theme parks, Chapek said that, quote, the domestic parks and resorts achieved all-time revenue and operating income record despite the Omicron surge. All-time revenue record. He said that this stellar performance was achieved at lower attendance levels than 2019, which was due to carefully managing demand via the ticket and reservation systems. So, less people coming in, charge them more, we make more money.
I don't know. Well, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack, as they say, which is a phrase I hate. By the way.
Well, here let's finish unpacking. We have one box left.
Oh, you have more?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh
quote, per capita spending in our domestic parks was up more than 40% versus fiscal first quarter of 2019, which was driven by a more favorable guest and ticket mix, which means less people, higher prices for tickets, and so you're somehow you're going to come in and spend more. Anyway, domestic spending was up 40%, driven by favorable guest and ticket mix, higher food, beverage, and merchandise spending, and contributions from Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. Putting these factors together, our domestic parks and resorts delivered Q1 revenue and operating income exceeding pre-pandemic levels, even as we continued managing attendance to responsibly address ongoing COVID considerations, which I find that paragraph sort of insane. Less people, you charge them more, and those people are going to come in and spend more money than they did beforehand.
Maybe it's because I only see one set of parks, but I don't see where there's less people in these parks.
Less people than, I guess, 2019. I don't know.
I still don't feel that. I mean, it's insane the way these parks feel. I'm wondering if Disneyland is bringing the average down, because isn't California still under some stricter?
I don't honestly know. I think I want to say Disneyland is still at 90%. I haven't seen anything that they're at full capacity, but I don't honestly know.
90%.
I know.
Oh, I didn't even realize. I thought you guys were still operating at like 15% or something.
Oh, no. It hasn't been that way for, I think, a year.
Here it feels like they've flung the doors open, thrown out the welcome mat, and everyone's there. I've never seen anything like it.
He also said that in the quarter, more than a third of domestic park guests purchased either Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, or both, and that number rose to more than 50% during the holiday period, which is surprising to me. A third of domestic parks at Q4 of last year, a third of people purchased Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, or both, and then over 50% did it during the holidays. Because you go on the internet and you look up how people are reacting to, Genie Plus and Lightning Lane and whatever, and you see, of course, the Disney News blog sphere going off about how people are up in arms, and the comment section, one Disney guest hates this thing, whatever. The internet is full of people campaigning for Chapek to be removed and that he's ruining the parks and Disney will never be the same. It will never recover. And yet more people than ever are clamoring to hand him more money than ever. So if you really want to show Disney that you're tired of these price increases, don't fill out a form online. Cancel your streaming service, ditch the parks, and convince people to do the same. Meanwhile, the Disney company will get back to business, looking for ways to charge you for things that used to be free. And this is a big thing. They did not expect even a third of people to pay for these Lightning Lanes. It surprised even them how many people bought this. And there's no sign that most people are disinterested in this, right? We just talked to Bev. She went to Disneyland and used Lightning Lanes for the first time. Cost her $12 each to skip the line for Radiator Springs. She goes, yeah, I would do it again, depending on the wait. That's an extra $12.
Well, I just wouldn't go on.
Same. Exactly right. But that's an extra $12 that Disney now is guaranteed to get from this person when she goes back in 2 months per person in her party. So what else is Disney going to be charging for? They're looking for this stuff. There's more people coming in. They're spending more money than they did pre-pandemic. It's terrible.
I think that there is I think that they go hand. I think it goes hand in hand with the amount of crowds there is. And maybe on the most crowded days, it's not as crowded as it was, but there's no low crowd days. You go to over to Magic Kingdom on a rainy Wednesday in January. Normally, in any other year, you would have had the run of the place. Not now. Wall to wall people. It's raining out. Like they're not going. And I think what it is you do have 2 years of pent-up demand. I know a lot of people who canceled a trip, postponed as the pandemic wore on, postponed. Now, and I think there's a lot of people who, as soon as it now is reasonable to go, they're here. I've had family in town. I have people coming in town more frequently than ever because everybody's been waiting. So I do think that they're probably seeing some sort of post-pandemic surge. But what I wonder is the level of service is not what it was. The experiences aren't there. I think you do have to pay in order to enjoy it. So I think people are forking it down because they haven't been in 2 years and they don't want to miss a moment. So they're like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just pay for it. But when they look at the end of their trip and they say, we were here, it's more crowded than it's ever been. It costs us more to get on these rides. We went 2 years without going. Maybe it'll be another 2 years before they come back, because I just don't think that people could possibly be having the same amount of fun as they were.
You're probably right. Nostalgia is a fickle thing, though. It sort of clouds our judgment. So I think, and Disney has learned over the years how to capitalize on that. And so it's what they say about, having multiple kids, right? You have a kid, it sucks for the first few years. It's hard, it's challenging. But then when they, hit 4 and you can talk to them and there's a whole rapport and they have a personality, you forget how hard sleepless nights were and how hard sleep training was and how hard this was and how much trouble you had with this and just whatever, right? Raising a child. Let's have another one. You forget. You forget the pain points. And I think that's the way it is with Disneyland or Disney World, but especially maybe more Disney World for people who go once a year or whatever. They go, they have a fun time. They go, oh my God, we're broke now. And then 2 months later, they're like, wow, let's start saving it up again. Let's start doing this, let's start doing this again.
Yes. That could be, but there were also those people, and I've talked to them, and it used to be me too. You couldn't leave without planning your next trip. Like it was like, oh no, this is coming to an end. We've got to have another one on the books. I can't leave here without knowing I'm coming back. I don't know that people still feel that way. And again, it may be that they get home and they forget it, and then they do book again. But I don't know that the urgency is what it was when you're just slogging through these people.
Well, I think the test will be what happens this year and next year, because I do think you're right. The pent up demand from the pandemic and the shutdown and all that kind of stuff does have something to do with this sort of surge, I guess, in spending. A lot more people are working from home. We're saving a bunch more money because Taryn and I both work from home now. So it's like we do have a little bit more free income, so we can go out and do stuff. And, hey, go to Disneyland, do this thing. Let's do a big trip, right? I do think there's a lot of that. But there are also a lot of people that are spinning up their trips more and more. I mean, Bev is going like 3 times this year. She's just going, and it's a mix. And like with anything, you get a big, population density doing a thing. There's going to be different factors, right? Representing why people are doing a thing. So there's never going to be like one specific answer. But we'll see. I mean, if this is happening at the end of Q4 22, end of Q4 23, then I think it's a trend. But now it is sort of like, well, God, we've been planning, like you said, we've been planning this trip since 2000, for 2020. Now I just don't care. We're just going to do it. Everything's fine. Or we're all, triple vaxxed and boosted. We're ready to go. Let's finally hit the books and let's do this Disney thing.
Yeah. There's also a thing now. People are starting to run up against where certain levels of airfare, you're starting to have to now book and use that travel, or you're losing it. So I think that there could also be, because like my mom's coming this weekend. She had to come this weekend, or she's losing the ticket. So I think that's like, there's probably that factor along there too. I just think there's a lot of different things, but I think that it will probably last for another 18 months. I don't think this is going away anytime soon. Interesting.
That's interesting. So, when I was saying that the single day ticket for Disneyland hasn't changed, it's $104. There is, about halfway through June, the calendar on their Disney website, the calendar stops updating. It's like June 14th is the last day that you can do. So between now and June 14th, there's maybe 10 days that you can pay for a $104 ticket.
Right. It's not happening.
No, you have 4 days in May. They're Monday, Tuesdays. You have 4 days in, we have no days in April at all, which is probably spring break. So that's probably why. And in March, you have 4 days that you can pay $104 in March. And that's it. There's no more in this month. And so it's like, it's sort of a scam. Honestly, if you want one park, one day, whatever, you can't pay $104. I mean, you can. You have 4 opportunities in 31 days to do that. Everything else is $159 to $119 to $164 consistently. So, it's very convenient. Oh, our lowest price is this, which beats out Universal. Okay, but I can't pay it because I can't go that one day. Well, sorry, now you have to pay $134, which is much more than Universal. I don't know. Because people like to use
you also get so much more at Universal.
You can? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a different experience. Well, definitely your Universal, for sure.
I don't know. I
feel like it's weird. Have you been to our Universal?
No.
It's weird. I will say they're doing a lot to it right now, so it's sort of hard to enjoy when we went. But looking back on the time we went, it's a few years ago. Like I literally saw the skin of a dinosaur hanging off a leg, and the other one was literally zip tied. It was bad.
Yeah.
When you talk about bad show, like it was just terrible, and it was hard to do like a full day there. But you get a different experience. And I only mention Universal because it's the second closest, comparison, and people like to prop up the Universal tickets versus Disneyland tickets and what you get for it. So that's the other side of it, is you do get a lot for your money at Disneyland. There's a lot to do, but I don't know, maybe it's like market correction or whatever, where the value of the ticket is now meeting the value of the entertainment that you're getting. But I also don't buy that, especially when they're making record profits. I don't know. The whole thing's weird, man.
Would you pay more for Disney Plus? That's the piece we haven't discussed.
Would I pay more? No, I won't. I wouldn't pay more for Disney Plus because there's not a whole lot on it now anyways. And I understand all these like new shows are going to come on, and that's cool. Great. I'm glad they're doing content. But what happened to just using our profits to then maintain the content? I don't understand why you have to, we're doing new shows, so we're going to charge you more because those shows cost money. Well, you have 130 million subscribers on this stupid thing. What about that? What about those profits? You can't use those profits to make these other TV shows. You have to charge me more. So it's like I'm paying more a month for the new shows because I've seen all the other stuff that I want to see. I don't like it. That's the thing. So no, I don't get a value out of it like that.
Yeah, it's the expectation almost should be that there's constantly new stuff because I can't reconsume the same stuff over and over unless I'm Jeremy, in which case you just watch Downton Abbey over and over and over again.
Well, it's an interesting pricing setup for streaming, is because we've never seen anything like this in cable before. Like your cable bill doesn't necessarily go up because there's a new show on ABC or TNT. You know what I mean? It's not like Comcast doesn't call up and go, well, look, I see that CBS have added 4 new shows, so we're going to charge you, another 50 cents. Oh, but you better hope that FX doesn't add anything else too, because it might be pushed to the $1 tier, but we can work with you on it. It doesn't happen. It never happens because they get ad revenue and they spin it back into creating their shows, so you keep going. But Disney Plus sounds like they're not really interested in doing that. They think that, well, this is the base price, this is the entry level, and anything above it, we now have the right to charge you more for.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. That's the way I read it. And so we'll see. I mean, he said if we choose to do so, we will charge you more, but probably not till next year.
I think it'll depend on how their subscriptions are. Like if we're forced to do so, I think is more like it, and how their subscriptions are going. I would think that as people emerge into the world, having Disney Plus is going to be less important.
I would think so too. And to be honest with you, I use a lot of the ESPN Plus version of that now because there's like the World Cup and there's a bunch of soccer tournaments on that ESPN Plus does cover, and that's great. But when soccer season's over and I've seen all the things on Disney Plus I want to see, we'll probably just drop back down to Hulu because I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm thinking of getting rid of Hulu. How many episodes of Designing Women and Old Will and Grace can I watch?
Have you watched The Golden Palace?
No. Well, yeah, I did, in the 90s.
Oh, you did?
It was terrible.
Was it? Because, it sort of seems samey. We've only watched like 2 episodes. Don Cheadle is in it. I didn't know that.
It was terrible.
Cheech Marin is in it.
Cheech Marin, yeah.
That boy is terrible. There's a little boy in it. And it's like, God, little kids under 12 in movies and TV shows are just inherently evil and terrible. I don't
Right. Well, they're supposed to add a cute element.
Yeah.
But they're not.
It works. It works. I was working with this guy years ago through my friend working on a script. We were trying to get a script made, and he wrote, he was like a semi-successful like Hollywood guy. And we wanted, like, my friend was like, we got to take this kid out of the script. He was like, kids are box office gold. You can't just take a child out of a script. You have to, people will, if a movie has a kid, you're going to get more of a bump at the box office.
Isn't that fascinating? I would think, I guess I'm in just such a minority. If I see a child, I run and screaming in the other direction.
Same. It's a very few children that can pull that off, which is hard. Acting is, it's easy, but not for kids.
Yeah, like that guy who was in the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser commercial.
Punch it.
He's the problem. You know what I realized? He's been playing a kid for too long. Like he's 21. He's been on the show for 10 years. So it was like, that's the only way he knows how to act is like a cute little kid. So, but he's getting old for that.
I'm really excited to be here.
Oh my God. I didn't know what happened. I was here. You met Gaia. Oh,
Cool. That's great.
I hate that guy.
I don't know, man. I'm sure he's well off.
Yeah, he's doing fine. He doesn't care whether I like him or not.
Can you imagine?
He's cashing checks.
If he writes in, look, guys, I just want to say that it makes me upset that you don't like me. What is it about me that you don't like? Yeah, I heard that you don't like me, and I was like, wow, you don't like me. I buried myself in a bowl of cereal. I don't know what that means. All right, we're going to get out of here, Jeremy, all right?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you want to support the show, etsy.com/shop/Coveyears. Buy some merch. Patreon.com/EarzUp. Join up, sign up Patreon. We have a Discord, and you get Etsy shop discounts, by the way, if you're a Patreon supplier or Patreon supporter. You want to supply us with Patreon, that's fine, too. I don't know what that means. And a whole bunch of backlog catalogs of shows and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you can't get enough of us over there, I don't know what to do. Move in with Jeremy. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.